The views and opinions expressed on Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar are those of its host and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. How's everyone doing today? I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. We have a medical political show that we've been having for quite a long time. We have in the house here, we have Jeremy.
Hey, everybody.
And
how you
Jeremy's our sidekick.
Your old pal Jeremy's right here.
And actually, we have a you got your can there, Jeremy. What's your can? Just put that away. You can't,
This is not a sponsor.
No. And we have Ava here. She's our co-host today. So she's sitting in. She's going to get an education. So my name is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Today's date is June the 11th, year of our Lord 2022. And we have it's crazy world right now. Crazy. For you people who out there who are listening on the podcast, our contact information is Dr. Kachmar. If you guys want to send us an email, it's drkachmar@icloud.com. That's drkachmar@icloud.com. Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center is another place to get a hold of us. Yeah. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook Live. We're on Rumble. Spotify, and also iTunes.
Amongst others. I know you can catch us on Audible, everywhere that fine podcasts are found. But also, before we start the show, I want to ask everybody to please share our show. It's the only way we're going to get out beyond who's already liking us. So, like, if you share your show and then your friends share them and them, it's a great way for us to grow.
Please share.
Please share. Be kind.
Be kind and share. Yeah, so
just
we
press
appreciate
a button.
that.
You press a button, you share. You know what? My Aunt Edith in Albuquerque,
right?
She wants to listen. She'll love this kind of thing. Let me send it to her.
Good. Yeah. I'm going to show you something here, Jeremy. Put this right in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So that is, I got gas.
$110.40.
Wait a minute. The camera's getting all wacky now.
Yeah.
Let me get back here.
It gets that way.
I can't look at it. I can't look at it.
When it sees anything over $99. $110.40.
That's filling up.
Wow.
This is crazy. This is crazy town.
I've
never seen anything in my life.
Yeah, that is in Brick. Was it Brick? Was that in?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brick, New Jersey, guys. That's
and this is in Biden's rhetorical, and all the communist left people. This is something they have to go through because they don't want us to drive our cars. And this would not be happening if Trump was president of the United States. I said it. I'm going to say it again. This would not be happening if Trump was president of the United States.
How many times did we hear Biden just the last week or two talk about how he understands how we feel when we go to the pump and we see these high prices? When did he fill his gas tank up last?
Listen, you got to understand.
He doesn't know anything about what we feel.
Well, see, I have a different take on him. I think that he does know exactly. He's bought into the left.
Yeah.
And the Chinese government, what they want, I keep saying this over and over and over again. What they want is they want to get rid of freedom of speech. They're doing that already. That they're throttling us, on YouTube. They want to get freedom of religion, get rid of that. This is what the Chinese model is. This is what Davos, this is what the world elites want. Because, religion's a pain in the ass. Free speech is a pain in the ass for them. Get rid of religion, get rid of free speech, get rid of the guns. You got to do that.
I hate speaking freely.
Right,
and I would rather have somebody oppress me.
Right, and then the fourth thing, they'll throw you a bone. They'll give you some kind of house to live in or apartment, and some food. Basically, like a slave, or like in China, you have what 1.8 8 billion people, let's just say 1.5 billion, maybe 400 million, 300 million are elite, very wealthy people, and the rest are slaves. They live a very bare existence, and that's where we're headed in this country. So let me go.
Before you go, Biden though, this is how I imagine Biden. You ever have like you have to call in to a tech service after hours.
Yeah.
So you get the guy who only has like a piece of paper with a checklist of everything he's got to run through, right? So and of course you're saying every question that it is not on that checklist. That's what Biden is. He's got a checklist, and we have the reporters of the world asking him questions about stuff that are not on it, and he just doesn't. He's not able to help you.
He's clueless.
He's just not able to help you. Yeah.
So here's the thing: we have the January 6th sideshow show. It's not even a real hearing because there's no dissent. You have basically what you have.
It's a distraction.
What you have is you have the communist left Democratic Party and the rhinos the Republicans who are basically in the same business of managed decline. They're the controlled opposition. That's the way I see it. And so they're having these things about the January 6th event. And I want to put things in perspective because they're making it like this was the most egregious thing in the world. And I want to give you different points of the view. And I'm going to go to the iPad here. So this is an article from the Heritage Foundation, and this individual's name is Mr. Gonzalez. Okay, and he goes, the article says, it didn't start on January 6th. Brief history of terrorist violence in the Capitol. All right, Jeremy? So we look here. Now, he calls this, key takeaways. The nauseating invasion of the Capitol on January 6th wasn't the only time the building has been attacked. There were 3 previous attacks of aggression.
Yeah, and the reason why we bring this up is because
perspective.
They are trying to make this Capitol, protest on January 6th bigger than anything that's ever happened to the United States. And that's clearly it's just silly. No. It's a distraction to occupy us while the president is screwing up in 20 other different angles.
Yeah. So the other one here is coming out. This is the second one. Coming out of more peaceful students for a democratic society. That's the name. They so-called weathermen were committed to spreading communist revolution through violent means. And the third thing is just key takeaways. Clemency in his place in dire cases and where there has been repentance, violations on all sides needs to be condemned. However, vigorously prosecuted. This is just takeaway. So let's go look here. So, we're talking about what happened in January 6th, right? Yeah. And let me get my thing here. So I'm going to come up here. So if you come here.
Hold on. The first sentence there describes the nauseating invasion of the Capitol on January 6th.
Wasn't the only time the building has been attacked. So let's go here to, this is a great one here. The attacks, this is the 3. The attacks were in 1954. Shooting of members of the House of Representatives by terrorists supporting the cause of the Puerto Rican separation from the United States. Also, and Ava, you want to read this, Ava? Ava's going to read this. Get Ava, read it.
Oh, yeah.
A 1971 bombing by the domestic terrorist group, the Weather Underground. And then there was another one 12 years later by a group of weathermen who identified themselves as Army unit. So here, let's talk about the March 54th. Did you know about this, Jeremy, the March 54th?
No.
No, probably most people in the country don't. In 1954, shooting was in many ways the most dastardly. 3 men and 1 woman, and their names are here. And I'm not going to go through their names, entered the House of Representatives Visitors Gallery, which hangs over the floor of the House, and proceeded to observe lawmakers debate and subject of migrant workers from Mexico. So it was going on at this time. You had congressmen sitting there.
Just testing.
Oh. At one point, the 4 got up, shouted, "Viva Puerto Rico."
Hey.
And all 4 took out semi-automatic pistols. Let me repeat that. All 4 took out semi-automatic pistols they were carrying and proceeded to spray with bullets the defenseless members of Congress below. Do I repeat that, Jeremy?
Yeah, please.
1954, March, 4 Puerto Rican nationalists, well, they're also citizens of the United States, all four took out semi-automatic pistols they were carrying and proceeded to spray with bullets the defenseless members of Congress. All four are in their 20s, didn't succeed in killing any of the congressmen, but did wound 5. So that was pretty amazing. 23 years later, listen to this, 23 years later, President Jimmy Carter commuted the sentences of several of the people. And the guy who died last March, he was praised as a hero to many who favored independence for Puerto Rico. Yeah. Okay, according to and let me tell you something. According to a flawed New York Times obituary, and here's the thing I want to start premising. The left will they'll come back, and I'm going to show you an article by a communist individual who wrote an article praising these people, saying, well, they had a reason to do it, and like with the Capitol, January 6th, they're saying, well, that was based on a lie. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So these people are okay with violence when it suits their agenda.
Oh, of course.
Now, here's go. Carter's Secretary of State, Cyrus Vance, when he said the release, he said, would be a significant humanitarian gesture and would be viewed as such by much in the international community. So he basically freed these people, okay?
Yeah.
And, it was pretty, he goes on here. So not only were they shot congressmen, but a president of the United States pardoned them. You understand what I'm saying? You see the article? And that drives me crazy. So that's one thing here. And then, also Puerto Rico, you talk about whether or not it was founded or not. Puerto Rico has the ability to, they were asked multiple times, do you want to become a state? Do you want to become a free nation? They voted no.
Puerto Rico. What was that guy's name? Scroll up a little bit. Yeah, the Puerto Rican governor, Carlos Romero Barceló.
Right.
What a wonderful name that is.
So the next one here. So here's the one. There was no arrest made for the 1971 bombing of the Capitol. They blew up a bomb. The bomb this is where the people bum rushed in January 2nd. That portico, this group, this is the second one, dropped the bomb in 1971, and it caused about $350,000 in damages. Okay. According to the author, it was the bomb guru of the terrorist group, said later he believed he may have built the device. The weathermen said they were protesting the invasion of Laos and U.S.-supported South Vietnam.
Wait a minute, yeah. I mean, but that believes is in giant quotes.
Yeah.
Like he's obviously poking a little fun.
This was a terrorist group. The Weather Underground was formed in 1969 by a handful of wealthy or middle-class students, including Bill Ayers. You know that name, Bill Ayers?
Do you remember who that? Where's that from?
Bill Ayers, after emerging from all the stuff that he did, blew up stuff, he's a professor in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And when he became Barack Obama's political mentor there.
Oh, grand.
See how this thing?
Yeah.
Okay? And the weathermen at it again a dozen years later in 1983 set off another bomb that tore through the second floor of the Capitol's north wing.
Meteorologists are always a danger.
So that's two bombings that these people did on the Capitol, and this is in Wikipedia. You could go. And here, moments earlier, a group calling itself the Armed Resistance Unit called in a warning to the Senate switchboard, but lives were spared only because database had crossed early. So they that caused $1 million worth of damage.
Yeah.
Okay? So in 1988, this is important now, FBI arrested and charged 7 men and women for execution of the blast. And I could go through their names, but the one here that really rings out is Susan Rosenberg. She's a white Jewish woman.
Yeah.
And they were sentenced. Rosenberg was sentenced to 38 years or 58 years for not for the Capitol bombing, but for New Jersey weapons charges. So these were bad hombres. These people belonged to the Communist Party, and they were violent, and they had in their manifesto to throw over the government. This is all history. I'm just giving you a history lesson. Okay? Now, Rosenberg, who blew up, was responsible with 2 bombs in the Capitol. Okay? She got pardoned in the last days in office with only 2 hours left. President Bill Clinton pardoned both of them. Right. Rosenberg and the other knucklehead. So, let's put things in perspective.
No, but I really see your point, though. What you're saying is that they're using what happened on January 6th to be this horrible thing that happened to our country, more so than anything else, but they're ignoring the history of this country that proves that there were bigger issues that so can we take what they're saying today about January 6th as seriously as they are when in the past the bombs, they were trying to blow up the Capitol, or that's mental. That's what we should be talking about today. So such things don't get repeated.
Well, no,
but if all you're going to say is that January 6th was the worst thing that ever happened.
No, I don't. That's not my point, Chairman. It's going to happen over and over again. It's called protest.
No, it's not your point. It's their point.
Their point is no. I'm telling you what their point is. Their point is. I got more articles here. Let me just tell you what their argument is. It's okay if you have terrorist attacks on the Capitol or in the Capitol, as long as it fits their narrative. If it's Puerto Rican, if it's communist, they would call it, because it was the Puerto Ricans were concerned, those people were concerned about colonialism. So, if it fits their narrative, it's okay to kill. Look, May 2020, they had riots in the Capitol. They burned a church right next to the White House. Remember, Trump had to come out and everything? But that's okay. This is why we're going down the tubes. You cannot have this double standard. Yes, the people who bum rushed, out of 1 million people that were there in January 6th, there was some crazies who went in and they should be prosecuted, and just like these other people. And I bet you any amount of money, these people are going to be pardoned sometime down the road. How much you want to bet?
Oh no, I'm not taking that bet.
Because right now, these other people, Susan Rosenberg got pardoned. The Puerto Rican people got pardoned by Carter. It's interesting when you start looking at the perspective of all of this. And now there's even some talk that this was predicated by the FBI. It was why wasn't there all the troopers there? Why wasn't the military there? So let's just go here. You're saying don't let it happen again. Let me grab another one here, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I want you to what do you?
No, but this is a great history lesson.
Well, I'm gonna give some.
This is the stuff we
Ava,
need to know about.
What do you say? You want everyone to say something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about all of this? Any comment? No, you're too young, right? Well, I always like to say anything. What do you think about people who blow up buildings? Think they're bad?
Sick.
They're what?
Born sick.
Yeah,
Born
there you go.
sick.
I like that. That's a good
From
one.
the mouth of babes.
What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, it's mental. It's like, why would you do it? What's the point? Like, what are you getting out of an explosion? I mean, sometimes it can be arguable. Like what was it? Remember the 5th of November? Gunpowder, treason, and plot.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to give you. This is an article that was written. So I'm going to give you another article here. Now this is this is a guy who runs the United States Communist Party. Okay, and I'm going to pull him up here, and I'm going to give you a different perspective now. Now this is in People's World. This guy right here, his name is Joe Bernick, Bernick. He's a communist. He's a communist. Short and and so if you read his article here, right? Listen how the left looks at this. You follow me, Jeremy?
Yeah, I am.
So here he says, cable TV and other media commentators keep comparing the January 6th attack on the Capitol to the British attack during War of 1812. And there's other historical things. He admits, on March 54, 4 Puerto Rican nationalists who entered the building peacefully unfurled a Puerto Rican flag and opened fire in the House of Representatives chamber from the visitors gallery, wounding 5 congressmen who gathered with their colleagues to vote. 3 men and 1 woman were arrested, trial, and sentenced to very long prison terms. Okay? The incident, like the one in January 6th, was also a violent attack. So he says, let's see how the 2 events compare. Now remember, this is a communist, out front, declared communist individual. He wants communism for the United States, which means, no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion, no freedom from fear, no guns. You understand what I'm saying? This is a downright communist. Now, if you read this article here, this is where I want people to understand this. He's saying the 1954 attacks were protesting the invasion and continued occupation of their country by a foreign entity, the United States. Bullshit. They were American citizens. While the means of protest were criminal, they had a legitimate grievance over a real factual situation of unjustified colonialism. The fascist mob so he's saying basically they had a reason to do it, and it's okay. Then he goes here, the Puerto Rican shooters wounded 5 people and killed nobody, while Trump's mob outright murdered 1 policeman, which is bullshit. It's found not to be the case, and caused 4 more deaths while wounding more than 140, as well as causing max damage.
When did that happen?
But follow me on this one. I want to make this point. The Puerto Rican nationalists were U.S. citizens with brown skin, while Trump's mob was overwhelmingly white. There's your racist. Media commentators, including liberals, keep asking, what would have happened if it was Black Lives Matter protesters? I can tell you what, nothing, because in May 2020, they friggin' bum rushed the Capitol. They didn't bum rush, but Washington, they burned down a chart and nothing happened. It's a good point, but it says that the BLM protesters were all African Americans, which is bullshit, covering up the fact that the BLM protesters they were multiracial. Very important development that they want to forget. It was that multiracial coming together in a broad coalition that defeated Trump in November. So I'm going here, allowed to leave the country without trial. So basically what this individual is saying is that, here's the deal. These people were justified. And I want to find out here. Happened movement. They were justified in the Puerto Ricans were justified because they had a cause. They're saying that January 6th protesters is not justified because it was based on a lie about election lie. Well, first of all, if it wasn't a lie, then I asked this guy, Mr. Bernick, then it would be okay that the people bum rushed the Capitol? If it was found out that there was improprieties, then it makes it okay? I say no. Even if it was, it's still not okay. You know what I'm saying, Jeremy?
Right.
I'm trying to look where he said here, where it says the sentence to long terms.
Oh, I saw that earlier. Yeah, sentence long terms. Yeah.
But what he says here in this article, which for people on the on our podcast, you could go to our YouTube video and look at this. This is a great article, and this article right here, I just want to. This is not a great article. This guy Barnack is a communist, like out big time. Here he is. Here he belongs to the. He's director, Salt of the Earth Labor College. Okay, I'm going to show you. So So I'm just saying how the left. Why was the left, Jeremy? Let me ask you this: Why does the left want this January 6th thing to be about anti-America? What's their goal? Why? Think about it now. This is where you got to really put your thinking hat on. Why are they saying, the other attacks, which were communist-based or against colonialism, is okay, which is worse violence, but this is not okay. Why? Based on a lie. But they're saying based on a lie, which I tell you what, there'll be investigations in November next year, real investigations. When we take over the House, when the Republicans take over the House and the Senate, and we have real investigations. Yeah. But my point is, what do you think? Why does the communists want to sow this this.
Well, everything's a footprint closer to that communist agenda, isn't it? You know, like making it seem like the people are revolting, and the government's going to have to come in and do something drastic to get them in line and stuff. And the thing that bothers me the most is like when you hear Biden talking about the right. He really, I mean, I'm a citizen and he's my president, and he says some nasty things about me. And
MAGA.
No, not even that. Not even
citizen.
that. That we embraced. And why would you make a derogatory term about something as
they hate
altruistic
us.
as making America great? I don't get that.
They don't like people. They don't like. No, you understand something. The left hates most Americans, especially the MAGA, especially the people who believe in a constitutional republic. We believe in the Bible, the Constitution. Remember Barack Obama? You guys with your guns and your religion. They want to get rid of that. See, people in this country don't see it yet. They're starting to see it. Yeah. This is a communist takeover. Let me show you this guy.
But see, with every little word that's said, every phrase that's turned. Like you just said there with what Barack Obama said about it. You guys with your guns and your religion.
Bill Ayers, his guy who's his mentor.
We're chiseling all that down. We're chiseling it all down so we can show them a better model to go to besides the one we're living in, and that's the communist model.
Yes, that's what they want. Look right here. This is the guy who wrote that article now to criticize the January 6th, whatever you want to call it, event, but praise and give a pass to
the January 6th peaceful protest.
Right. Well, no. Listen, it got violent. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
I watched.
No, it got violent. But here's the thing, though. They didn't. These people blew up with a bomb and shot with guns. Yeah. Okay, nobody shot. Nobody got shot there except Babbitt, who was
I've seen the footage. I watched that. What was it? A 3-part, the Patriot Purge. That they showed us, and they showed footage that was never shown before. Right. And there was two groups: the peaceful protest, and then you saw the Antifa people climbing the wall behind. Right. They're the ones that started everything.
But it doesn't matter who was. Right now, it does matter from a historical, and we'll prove it, and we'll see who caused it. But there was some violence. But
because it does push us closer to that.
They want
agenda.
They want the Russian Revolution. What they want is to sow unrest. The way to destroy this country is to set up a scenario where we're killing each other, where we get violent. Yeah. And then you could come in and take over.
Then they have an excuse for martial law.
Right.
And so it gets uglier.
Here's the guy. This is the Communist Party of U.S. This is the guy, John Bernick.
Why else did they allow police departments to burn down in the background of supposed peaceful Black Lives Matter protests?
Yeah, it's the whole thing. Now look what this guy says here. This is interesting. We talk about this. John Bernick. He says, for democracy, that's an interesting word, for equality, for socialism, for a sustainable future in a world that puts people before profits. Join the Communist Party today. Sounds great. Kumbaya. Where'd the Communist Party ever?
Join the Communist Party USA today. Right. I never thought I would see...
This has been like this for years. They had in the 50s, but where has the Communist Party worked? That's what I'm trying to tell people. You're betting on a bad horse here. You're betting on a bad horse, Jeremy. Tell me where places in the world where communism was started and did well. Can you
No.
China, Russia
did well. That's the operative word. Well, no, none of it did well. It's awful. Back when I was a little kid, well younger than Ava, I remember hearing stories about Russia and the people lining up for bread. That's how we thought Russia was. It was like this horrible place, and we were taught we were taught places like Siberia, which was like an ice prison, and you didn't want to go there. You know, but this is the idea of a communist world that that we knew in the 80s.
Right,
we knew it, and we didn't want it.
Right. Well, I'll make another point here. You talk about communists. You have also fascism, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Trump's fascist." Trump's nowhere close to a fascist. But here's the thing: the fascist that we know of, and was very close with the communist regime, was Hitler and Nazis. Russia and Hitler, Stalin, I should say, and Hitler were allies at one time. People don't understand that. In the beginning of the war, they were allies. They were aligned, and it wasn't exactly. Because Russia didn't have the in the beginning the what's the word? The racism against Jews as Hitler did.
Oh, all right.
There's a lot of people in Stalin's.
They didn't have the same race hate.
No, because a lot of people in
Nazis
Stalin's hierarchy were Jewish, and so
look at the question Ava just brought.
What was the question, Ava? What'd you say?
What'd you say, sweetheart?
Who is Hitler?
Okay, so she don't know. She's young, and she's 9 years old.
Yeah.
Hitler.
But you know what? That's indicative to not. I mean, she's young. She wouldn't know. But there are a lot of adults out there that are unsure, and that's scary. That's some scary stuff.
Now, let me make a point about Hitler. That's why I brought it up. When he and the Nazis started their takeover, and they want to take over the world, they had
their racial cleansing.
Right. What they did is they had propaganda.
Yeah.
And the Goebbels. And just right now, what they did, first of all, they took the guns away from everybody. You couldn't own a gun.
Yeah.
That's history. You go look at that.
They didn't want their own people shooting back at them.
Well, no, exactly.
Yeah.
That they took the guns away. They also stifled free speech. If you said anything, you were put in jail. They also had a department of euthanasia, so they'd whack you left and right. If you're born with a problem, they execute you. If you're old, they got rid of you. They had propaganda free, and also they started to deteriorate on the religious aspect. Definitely, Jews were a big target.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean, obviously they killed 8 million of them, but Hitler reduced your rights. So fascism and socialism are very, very similar, in my opinion. So let's go. So when you talk about where we're going in this country, and when Hitler was going in Europe, we didn't get involved until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Yeah. Okay, when did they bomb? Infamy, 42.
42, yeah, it would be.
But
that was some cold-blooded stuff they did. The ambassadors, the Japanese ambassadors,
they're
went
lying.
in and they said, we will not have peace. And then they walked out, and 2 seconds later, Pearl Harbor was bombed.
Right.
That's some cold stuff, man.
They're bastards.
Yes, sons of
So let's go back. What happens is they bomb Pearl Harbor. A week later, we go into war. We declare war. No, we didn't declare war. Germany declared war on us. There was a lot of people in this country didn't want to go to war for a lot of different reasons. There was a lot of sympathizers in the United States. They had big rallies, Nazi rallies in the United States. I think had swastikas. People were buying into it.
People were seeing that though, because the flip side of that coin. Okay, and I know, but the flip side of that coin there were people that were committing suicide because they couldn't go to fight for their country. Because they were rated for F. Is
for
it?
F. Right. Well, that was. But my point is that things changed. So now.
But that shows you that what kind of world that is.
Right.
You can't go and fight and you kill yourself over that. I mean, that's American pride.
Right. But my bigger picture here, and I'm trying to push out there, is that when we talk about what we're talking about is what the agenda is on the left now and the communists. When they declare war on us. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was the president, follow me on this. He was the president of the United States. They needed to make money. They needed to get war bonds, okay? They needed to get the American people involved in the war. A lot of people, I know people were all, volunteering, but there's a lot of people still, were what's going on here? Why? And if you look at the history, they weren't all bought into it that quickly. Yeah. And what he did is he had a very famous speech. It's called the 4F speech. And he said, what we're defending, Franklin Delano Roosevelt took what our country stands for, what our inner DNA, what the founding fathers built, and what are they? He said, freedom, what Hitler's trying to take away, and Stalin, okay, and Mussolini, and every other, and Pol Pot, and every piece of shit out there, down in Venezuela. Excuse my language. It's been going on for years and years. And what they want to do, don't mistake this, people. They want to take away, and this is what Roosevelt said, we have to protect freedom of religion. Mm-hmm. Freedom of religion. Yeah. Freedom of speech. Free speech. And this is what he said. Free speech, you should be able to say what you want to say and not be throttled down.
Freedom of religion.
Freedom of religion. Yeah. Okay? Freedom of religion. You should be able to practice what you want. You got to remember, the founding fathers came here. They were prosecuted. They hung. You couldn't, if you were Catholic or whatever. Look what the Germans did to the Jews. Yeah. Okay? Muslims, everybody. The freedom from fear. Freedom from fear. Yeah. Think about that. People fear now. People walk. I mean, you in the streets you get shot. You're feared of not only your fear from the crime that's going on. You fear now the government. Yeah. People fear the government now. So freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom from fear, and the fourth thing he talked about is freedom from want. Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you right now. Think about this country and how it's going to go. Gas prices $6-7. Inflation. You have freedom from want. I guarantee another 6 months, 7 months, you're going to start feeling that you don't have freedom from want. Freedom from fear.
We're going to have freedom to want.
Freedom from fear. There's a lot of people living in the cities, they're fearful. I met a couple on the boardwalk yesterday with Ava, and they were telling me they live up in Bayonne, Jersey City, and they just shook their heads. And they were immigrants she was from Ecuador and he was from, I forget, Bolivia. They were a nice couple. My granddaughter was with their child. And these are, came here legally, working hard, and they're scared. And then, freedom from us of free speech. People are getting throttled all the time. Trump was thrown off Twitter. A president of the United States, I don't care if you like him or not, the significance of that. So and now we're teetering. No,
because it's so hysterical.
You understand how everything I put together?
Yeah. It's so hysterical. And I had said it, man. Like these new tools that we have, that they have to use, they are doing more harm than anyone has ever done before. It's leading us all into this crazy world that we're in right now. You know what I watched the other day? I watched Schindler's List.
Oh, that's a tough movie. I can't watch that. No, I watched it. It's so good.
But the thing is,
I'm ready to jump. I mean, it's
no. But see, that's the reaction I was hoping for. Because that is a movie I feel people need to watch every 5 years, just to remind them of how ugly we can get when unchecked.
Yeah.
Well,
but Jeremy, also. You need to. The reason why
that movie, I was crying.
Right,
I was crying like crazy.
The founding fathers were brilliant, and what they set up, like this thing with free speech. Example, I have people. I say, oh, it's hate speech. Listen, the Constitution right now. You look at the First Amendment. Free speech is not. It could be modified. It's modified by time, place, and manner. Yeah. Okay, so you could burn the American flag. Back here, you could burn that flag in protest.
It's probably easy because it's wood.
But you can't right. You could go say there's a mayor in town. You want to protest him. You could go during the day, but it can't be violent. It can't be at night making noise. You can't block a bridge for a long time because it's commerce. So there are things that you can and can't do. Right now, what's going on is terrible. They have the Supreme Court justices are going to have National Guards watching their house. I listened to Schumer. He's a senator. Say Gorsuch and the whirlwind's going to come down on you. He threatened them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a situation now where things are getting out of control. I want to make one other point because the 81 million people who voted for Biden, supposedly, okay, I don't know if they really wanted what they got. But I want to show you one other thing, Jeremy. Yeah. And I'm going to show you something here. Hang on a second. So let me go here. So I just want to give you, this is a great article here. So this is out of Wikipedia. So that, which is,
So it's true.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. This is bullshit too, but if it's the left. The Weather Underground, this is what Bill Ayers, Rosenberg, these are the people who who Barack Obama aligned with one of their co-founders, was a radical left-wing militant organization, okay? Founded, University of Michigan. Michigan.
The
Remember
group
that?
was organized as a faction of students for a democratic society.
Right, sounds good. So they had FBI.
National leadership, officially known as the Weather Underground Organization. Beginning in 1970, the group's express political goal was to create a revolutionary party to overthrow American imperialism.
Right, in 1970, the group issued a declaration of a state of war against the United States government under the name Weather Underground Organization.
Yeah.
And who was part of that? Susan Rosenberg, who's pardoned by Bill Clinton, right, and the guy Ayers. I'm just going to go here. Just want to show you some stuff here.
Wait. The group. The group took its name from Bob Dylan's lyric, "You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows."
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You like that? You didn't know that, did you?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was interesting.
So this was an opposition. But I just wanted to make people understand where this history comes from. This is nothing new. We've had communist people who in the communists, the left are very, very dangerous, and they're very, very violent. And Antifa is an international terrorist group. I don't care what anybody says. And Black Lives Matter, I think, was a good idea in the beginning, and I think they got infiltrated by Antifa. That's just my opinion. We're pundits here.
Black Lives Matter was something nice and good when it was a hashtag.
Okay, so
when it became more than
right,
that, like the Me Too movement, when it becomes more than a hashtag, that's when things fall apart.
Right, but I want people. This whole thing is. I want people to understand here. Look at this here. This is the ideology.
Yeah.
So this is the wind blows. The main struggle going on in the world today is between U.S. imperialism and a national liberation struggle against it, based on Lenin's theory of imperialism. Go read that. Who bought into this too is Hillary Clinton. This is people think that, and this is where our country is right now.
And it's crazy. It's like, well, I inherited my democracy from my family. My family were Democrats.
Right.
And so like back then when, a lot of this was being done and said, I was a kid and I thought I was a Democrat because, you think when you're a kid that whatever your family believes in, they've got to be the good guys, right? I mean, because you don't feel like the bad guy, do you, Ava? Do you feel like a bad guy? No. So I followed it and I thought the Democrats were good. And they were the heroes until a couple years ago when I started feeling different, and I started feeling like the Republicans were more right, and that was a huge shock to my system because I thought we were good. I thought we were the good guys, and then I felt like we weren't, and we weren't the good guys anymore. So yeah, I switched to the Republicans. Now the Republicans, are they 100% right all the time? No, I don't think so. But I think they're right enough, and that's good enough for me for right now. Anyway, did you find what you're looking for?
No,
okay. I'll think of some more words to say.
I want to hang on a second. I want to show you. I want to show you one. I just want to show you. Yeah. Well, the thing that we're trying to say here is that there's a common thread here, and don't get sidetracked.
No,
okay?
No.
Don't get sidetracked by this other bullshit that's going on here.
I'm pure and clean.
And I want to make a point, and we'll close this conversation. But let me go back here, and this is the article again by this from the Heritage Foundation.
Mike Gonzalez.
Well, Gonzalez, I like this guy, but I want to throw this out here because this is something where people. This is not conspiracy I'm talking about. This is fact, and the fact we had in March of '54. It's a fact. You can't erase it. That people went in to the Capitol and shot congressmen. 30 rounds of semi-automatic pistols. Okay, there was 2 bombings of the Capitol. 2, not 1, 2, and it was by communist individuals. There's no what I would use. Doubt about that because they proclaim themselves. And who started the Communist Party?
Who?
One of them was Ayers, who was befriended by, he was counsel to what do you call it, to Barack Obama. I'm trying to find the article here. I just wanted to show you.
Oh, he was like what you said, the mentor of Obama.
Yeah.
Or as Dr. Schneider calls him, one big ass mistake.
But what gets me is you got to understand too is that the people. Well, here's the other thing though. But you want to understand here is that the ones who shot up the Congress, they were pardoned by Carter, leftist president. Probably I would say the worst president of the United States. But now I'm looking at Biden. So see, he pardoned them. Now he also pardoned, which I don't know if I agree with or not. He had the biggest mass pardon of all the draft dodgers who went to Canada. All the people who refused to fight and went to Canada, there was thousands of them. He pardoned all of them. But I just want to make that point. And then this Susan Rosenberg was pardoned by Clinton, another leftist president.
That's why when Trump was running for president and you got all those celebrities coming out of the woodwork that were saying, oh, if he ever gets in, I'm running to Canada and stuff like that. But I mean, didn't they ever stop to think that that's really what the draft dodgers did?
Right.
And now you're announcing you're going to do that yourself?
Right. But now here's what I want you to point out, and then I'm going to end this because the Weather Underground was formed in 1969 by a handful of wealthy or middle-class white students, including Bill Ayers, Ayers, who, after emerging from hiding. See, they were after him, transformed into a professor in Chicago and went on to become Barack Obama's political mentor there. He formed the party that bombed the Capitol twice. His colleagues who were arrested and went to jail were pardoned by Clinton. So now the circle...
So it says here, coming out of the more peaceful students for a democratic society, the so-called weathermen were committed to spreading communist revolution
through violent
means, and were soon later identified as a domestic terrorist group by the FBI. So this is Barack Obama's mentor who created this group to spread communism through violent means.
Right.
Lovely.
Right. So they had the one bomb, and then again in 1983, another bomb that tore through the second floor of the Capitol's North Wing, according to the U.S. Senate history site. Moments earlier, a group calling itself the Armed Resistance Unit called in a warning to the Senate switchboard. But it says, but lives were spared only because debate had ceased earlier than expected. So even though they called it in, they probably would have been, and the damage was $1 million. And, again, the reason was given that U.S. involvement in Lebanon and Grenada. So, my point about all of this is that you could say, they're telling me that the January 6th is bad. Forget about the level of violence. I don't think the level of violence reached what these people did, but let's just say, they're saying it's based on a lie, which I'm not so sure. We've had hearings, but if it was not based on a lie, then January 6th will be okay because they're saying these are okay. By President Clinton and Carter pardoning these people. What are they saying, Jeremy? They're saying that this was okay what they did.
No, I know. It's
I
not.
know. You know, my point is, I'm trying to understand here. You have to understand the people who are communists who think the way they do. And Russians did this. Stalin did this. Germany did this. Violence is their way to go. If Stalin didn't like you, or you were something against, the regime, they'd execute you. They kill you. It's violence. This is where we're headed, people.
This is the new Red Scare. That's what this is.
This is worse than that. This is an assault on the Constitution. We are a republic.
We used to say in this country, better dead than red. Better dead than red, right?
Right.
I mean, we used to say that because we understood how bad being a communist was. Okay, now our government is thinking that that's the more preferable route.
Not just our government, Jeremy. You got to understand, it's not just our government. There's a lot of people. People think that it's just Barack Obama. It's just Hillary Clinton. It's all these people. It's not. There's people in this country who believe it, and just in Russia, there's people who believe it. If you're oppressed or you don't have money, you could start saying, okay, that's a better way to go. I have friends who believe in that. They are Antifa. The thing is that they feel that there should be violence. Now, here's the funny thing. But right now, the people in power we have another war in Ukraine. Where's that going to go? Will that metastasize in World War III? What's different than that than Vietnam? What's different than that than Afghanistan? And then they're talking about a Ukraine tax or a Russian tax on all our food. I mean, it's just, we're so crazy right now. And we're going down the same friggin' roads we've done before. The only thing with this is this could go into World War III. Yeah. And if we have World War III, it's over and done with. You know what's interesting? I'm looking at what's going on right now. And while I was watching Trump campaigning, and he had a lot of rhetoric. Oh, if Biden gets in, it's going to be terrible. And you know what? I had a lot of friends go, Mike, it's not going to be that bad. Biden's going to be in the middle of the road. He'll bring things together. Don't get too upset. And I'm like, okay, I didn't vote for Biden, but I have my attorney, my lawyer. The accountant. They're smart, reasonable men, and they felt that the Democrats Party, it's a lot of rhetoric. Yeah. Trump was a lot of rhetoric, and on the left is a lot of rhetoric. But now what's happening, Jeremy? Hold that thought. Yeah. That's not Trump's predictions are coming through. I never thought it'd be this bad. Did you think? I mean, I can't believe.
No. I didn't know what was back then. I didn't know what was going to be bad. When Barack Obama was running, I was on the edge of my seat that night, election night. Okay, and yeah, I was rooting for Barack Obama. I wanted a first black president. I bought into the political rhetoric that they were trying to,
right.
And so like when I know I keep on bringing up where I was and where I am now, because for me, it's such a drastic transition going from left to right. In belief. Your belief systems are changing from what you believed when you were on the left to what you now believe on the right. Sure. And I feel like I've transformed with the country changing, as well. And so now I feel the way I feel. But the Barack Obama and the Trump stuff, I was on the other side at that point. And I didn't know what I was thinking.
Well, let me tell you what I stand for. We stand for, and I think that most Americans stand for. We believe in equality of opportunity. Lincoln believed that. I believe if you're born black, white, green, yellow, if you're born transgender, transsexual, gay, whatever, you should have the opportunity to be whatever you want to be. You should have the opportunity to grow. Now, what they have done, though, is they have taken this communist left, and they're say, we want equality of outcome. So, if you want to be a jet pilot, Jeremy, yes. and we're going to let you do it. We're going to lower the standards. We're going to let you do it. And can you imagine, what kind of government you have to have equality of outcome? And it's never going to happen because there's no equality of outcome in Russia or China or, where communist regimes. They promise that. because it's impossible. You can't. You could give the best we could do is give equality of opportunity. Now, if you talk about equality of outcome, that's equity. We hear this word equity, and that's where we're going. And that's a communist, that equity thing. That's right out of Stalin, Lenin, that Marxist environment. Yeah. And it fails. What we need to do is hopefully get back to our common senses. We got to have law and order. We can't be lying to people on the news media, and right now we're in a circus. So my prediction is this. So first of all, we're all for love, peace, and happiness. I don't violence. The left is violent. We're not violent. I'm not violent. Look at the right. We don't. We're not violent at all. We're peaceful. But we're going to win. We're going to take over this communist regime in November, and we're gonna take over the House and Senate, and this guy is going to get impeacced. He's going to get now. Whether or not it'll go through, we better. No, we will
take over.
No, we will. God's got and then it'll be done peacefully. It's going to be, maybe Trump's going to run, maybe somebody, but it's going to be like a Reagan individual. And then you watch the violence that's going to happen. Watch the violence that happens this summer because people don't have food. They don't have electricity.
Oh, this summer is going to be a SHIT show. That's what it's
absolutely,
going to be.
Absolutely. And this. So I want to end this show. We're almost an hour now. Yeah. We got another 5 minutes. But I want to say this, Jeremy. We are pundits. I'm a foot and ankle surgeon. This is our opinion. But I've been on this earth for 65 years. And, I got my granddaughter right here. She's ready to fall. She's mixed race. I love her more than anything else. We're not racist. We're not white supremacists. She was telling me that, I don't know, one of her teachers has something that, what was it?
My vice principal, she has blue eyes.
No, but what did they say about gray? Who's bad? BLM. You saw BLM,
Black Lives
Matter sticker. What did it say? The enemy is...
And it said, listen to people with gray hair.
Don't listen to people.
Don't listen to people.
No, it said do listen to people.
It do?
Yeah, it said listen to people.
Oh, well, I'm good for that then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you totally are good for that.
That isn't what you said before, but my point is that we can't...
You didn't say that before.
No. But here's the thing. You have maybe she did. We have to listen to each other, everybody. Yeah. If somebody who is Chinese or Russian or white or black, everybody is a human being under God, has equality. Yes. And I still believe the founding fathers, the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal with inalienable rights from God for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 14th Amendment reiterated it. Under the law, we have the right to live, to prosper, to have justice, and to own property. That's a big thing, to own property. People don't understand it, and that is becoming less and less of a attainable goal. Yeah. Talk about like with guns. They were just talking about guns, and they're talking about Joel Bader on one of the shows. She's like, oh, when with the blacks, I have a lot of people. They want guns. They want to protect themselves. So everybody should have, if they want it. It's our Second Amendment right. And we wouldn't have a whole segment on guns. I know this whole thing about shooting, but I just had a patient of mine. I don't want to say he's a friend, but I knew him. Just committed suicide. He was 60-something years old. Okay, and most of your gun violence, there's a lot of gun violence in this country. Majority of it is suicides. Yeah. The next one is crime, and a lot of it's inner city, which is a lot of gang on gang, and then you have this school shootings. And we were going to talk about that, but we talked about it last time. We said, hey, listen, the schools, close them down. I mean, not close them down. Armed guards, nobody gets in and out. You want to stop the crime in the cities, stop and frisk. It worked in New York. And with suicides, you need mental health, really a lot of mental health. But I don't want to change into the subject. But
stop and frisk is great. And honestly, this is in people to do, okay? We're seeing shootings in the streets on the news. We're seeing all of that stuff. And the one thing is you take away the guns, okay. You're not taking away the violence. They'll run
No,
around the
no,
street and start cutting people up with
Well,
swords if need be.
yeah.
But that's the thing.
Right.
You have to. It's the people that are wielding the guns
Right.
that
We're
need
sick.
to be looked at.
We have a sick society right now,
Yeah,
Jeremy, and that's why I'm
yeah.
saying the communists. They take away religion. You bang. You're teaching these kids all kinds of crazy stuff. But I want to just get back to this thing with January. We'll have a show on guns. I have a whole thing scheduled. I want to get back and close this. This January 6th and the involvement, and you got to look at the history, people, and what the agenda is. Why do they want to push this? Because they want to try to get, I think, Trump indicted. The last thing they want is him to run for president. And this is a show trial, in my opinion. And it's going to be investigated. You want to talk about democracy? We're going to, all these people on CNN and NBC, we're going to have democracy. Wait until November when they take over the House. And January, they start the investigations.
I mean, at this point, anybody would be better.
No, it has nothing to do. It's going. You want, Jeremy. You need to change. This country is going down the tubes, and I think that a lot of people. This was probably not. Trump. If he was in, we wouldn't have had this. But people didn't believe that, and now they're seeing the other side of the coin. And how long before? I mean, I've never thought I'd see $5 gas. I never thought the inflation. I just listened to these people who are experts, and they're saying, listen, the only way what Reagan did is they raised the interest rates, and they got us out of the recession that Jimmy Carter put us in. He had interest rates. Jimmy Carter. I mean, the interest rates were ridiculous. I mean, even with Carter, they were up to 18, 19. I remember 21%. Go back and look in the 70s. Interest rates were up there at 17%. Yeah. Can you imagine? And the only thing is, if we did that, this country would totally close down because we spend so much money. So anyway, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm worried. I just wanted to put things in perspective. We've had this stuff. What we need to do is stop the violence. We don't need any more violence. What we need to do is come to an idea. Do we want communism or not? Do we want to have a socialist communist party like China? Do you want to get rid of religion? Because I have friends who don't believe in God. Do you want to get rid of free speech? Because you could do that, and then get rid of all the guns, which is going to be a major problem. And then you're going to have a society like with China. So do you want that? Is that what the elites? And that's what the elites want. There's no room for your opinion or your ability to grow. And you're going to be born a slave, die a slave, and that's how it is in a lot of European countries. There's no ability, none whatsoever. It's very, very difficult to rise up. In this country, 20, 30 years ago, see, people don't, like she doesn't know, my granddaughter, you probably don't even know. You could open up you could go to New York City and drive a taxi cab. You could open up a hot dog stand and make, a couple $100,000. I mean, the opportunities in this country were out of control. They give you a loan, the bank will give you a loan.
Streets paved in gold.
Well, now, you got so many government regulations. You have the unelected bureaucrats who are running this country, and that's what Trump went against. It's not a conspiracy. It's not. They call it deep state. It's the FBI, the CIA, the EPA. Congress gave them the ability to make laws, and they do. And we got stuff that I deal with that are contradictory to each other. One government agency contradicts the other. So, like Barack Obama had Affordable Health Care Act, which was great. They wanted to do all these great things. But then HIPAA, which is, I can't, tell your wife you got a medical problem, stopped a lot of that from happening. One government agency, the other. So anyway, people need to become active. Everybody's going to have to decide. They can't just sit in the sidelines and say, I don't care about anything. They're going to have to start making a decision where they're going to go, what you want to do, what you want to vote. And that means you got to become active in your state, in your school boards. Yeah. You got to become active in your legislative. You got to run for local office, and you got to vote and start talking and discussing these things. Anyway, Jeremy, you want to say goodbye? We're gonna
close this show today, guys. So remember, I say it every weekend, but please be kind to each other out there. We need a little more of that.
Yeah, and for people who want to, get a hold of us, it's Dr. Kachmar at iCloud.com. You want to say that? Want to say that? The other thing we have is our webpage here is JerseyShoreFootandLegCenter.com.
That's right.
You can hit us up there. And we also
If they
have
want to make an appointment with you for their lower extremities, what?
they could call us up at 732-269-1133. That's 269-1133. And right now, if you guys, anybody's watching us, Dr. Snyder's coming up for next show. And hopefully we're going to have Dr. Jasper for Painless on sometime soon, right?
Yeah.
When's he scheduled?
I think maybe next week we might be doing something.
All right. Jeremy, say goodbye.
Hey, goodbye, everybody.
Ava, say goodbye. Bye. Thank you for everybody for watching, and tune in next week. We're gonna talk about a little bit about gun stuff and violence and medicine with regard to gun stuff. But I had to talk about this because yesterday was this January.
No, you were in
drove
the zone.
drove
You
me
were in the
crazy.
zone.
Drove
It
me
was a good
crazy.
show.
All right, take care, everyone.